Have you ever walked into GameStop with your friends and stumbled upon an interesting anime game called Persona? Despite hearing mixed opinions from the normies on the internet, or your friends who don't play anime games will hypothetically say, it's a weeb game, turn-based is outdated. You probably want to agree with your buddies, but it's not always bad to give it a shot. As someone who enjoys diverse gaming experiences, I found Persona 3 Reload to be one of the best. The engaging gameplay, compelling story, memorable characters, and fantastic music make it a must-play. I believe everyone should experience Persona 3 Reload at least once. Who knows, you might end up loving it. First of all, the gameplay in Persona 3 Reload is fantastic and a significant improvement from the previous versions, such as Persona 3 FES and Portable. Newcomers and OG Persona fans alike will enjoy the enhancements in Persona 3 Reload. For instance, unlike Persona 3 FES, where you couldn't control your party members, making battles more difficult. You can now control them, making combat more comfortable and easier for newcomers and OG. Not only that, but in the old Persona 3 games, you can use fusion spells at the cost of SP. In Reload, this has been replaced by Theurgy. The Theurgy gauge appears next to each character's portrait in Tartarus, and as it fills up, it changes colors from blue to green, yellow, orange, and finally, red. Once full, you can use their special abilities by pressing the Theurgy button during their turn and blow away your enemies. Despite the fantastic gameplay, there are some flaws that might bother players. For instance, the game can be too easy at times, making it boring depending on your experience. Leveling up in Tartarus can be too easy, allowing you to one-shot most enemies. Some Theurgy skills can be overpowered, one-shotting many enemies. While Tartarus has a polished design and is more tolerable than before, you still must climb multiple floors to reach to the top, which can be dull over time. Does this make the game bad? No, absolutely not. There's a lot to do outside of Tartarus, such as social links, leveling up social status, completing small missions for rewards, and engaging in activities within Tartarus, like creating cool personas and entering the Monad door for challenging enemies and getting rewards after the battle. The plot in Persona 3 Reload is amazing, with dark themes, fantastic memorable characters, great dynamics, and character development. Not only that, but it's one of the only Persona series with a phenomenal ending that leaves players emotional, and it also surpasses Persona 4 Golden's true ending and Persona 5 Royal's true ending. The pacing is good for the most part, thanks to the gameplay improvements. For those interested in the story, here's a brief summary. The story takes place in Iwatodai, Japan. The protagonist, Makoto Yuki, a quiet person dealing with depression, arrives in the city to get to his dorm. The sky turns green, there's blood on the floor, and black coffins with red aura appear, signaling the dark hour. Upon entering the dorm, he meets two girls who are part of the Shadow Exterminating Squad called Specialized Extracurricular Execution Squad, SEAS, aiming to eliminate Dark Hour by defeating the culprit behind it by climbing to the top of the tower called Tartarus, which is a dungeon. While Reload fixed many issues from the old Persona 3 games, it still suffers from the pacing problems. such as waiting for the full moon so the story can progress, which takes a month. The good news is that the new features in Reload can slightly bypass these pacing issues, but not entirely. The game could have added more special events to further improve the pacing, allowing players to enjoy the game even more. Persona 3 Reload has polished and improved the old soundtrack, which is great, but what really stands out are the new exclusive tracks like Color of Your Night,
Asking out a while, but never let it faze me. I'm keeping good vibes when I'm on the road. Watch out for all surprises. What it provides is good and bad, but nothing entices.
Another one day in the night, let me paint the view.
It's Going Down Now,
Disturbing the peace, look into my eyes. Now tell me the things you were laughing about behind my back.
and the new Reload opening.
Oh, the journey starts from where we did first step. No one's sure what lies ahead before the breath.
These tracks are fantastic. However, some tracks shouldn't have been changed, but I won't spoil which one. Overall, the music is still excellent despite some nitpicks. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The game's design is great overall, with improvements in the menu design, graphics, battle UI system, and character art style. The most notable improvements is the unique dungeon design compared to the old version, which was bland. This also applies to Iwai Todai City, which also looks fantastic. However, not everything is perfect. For example, some character design / art style in Reload don't feel as good as the original designs from the older games, like Yukari, Makoto, and Aigis in my opinion. Another issue is the battle UI system, which doesn't match the theme of Persona 3 and looks bland compared to Fez and Portable. In Fez, the battle option select had a revolver shape, fitting the game's theme since character used a special weapon called an evoker to summon a demon. Despite these flaws, they don't bother me much and are easy to ignore. However, I feel the developers could have taken more time to improve them, making it the ultimate definitive Persona 3 game. The theme of this game revolves around overcoming death, expressing the value of life and bonds with friends, but mostly death. The theme is great, with a dark atmosphere and the concept of pointing an evoker to your head to summon a powerful demon, which represents not fearing death and overcoming it. Reload, in my personal opinion, did a great job with its theme, but I have a few nitpicks that make Persona 3 Fez's theme superior. For instance, the game's atmosphere and theme feel a bit too bright compared to Fez, which had a darker tone. I personally prefer the anime cutscenes from Fez over Reload's 3D animation as they felt darker. Sure, Reload had an anime too, but I still prefer Fez's anime since, again, it has a darker tone. These flaws are easy to ignore, especially for new players who wouldn't notice them. However, OG players might find some concerns with the tone of the game's theme. Overall, the theme is great, but could use a little bit more effort in my opinion. Persona 3 Reload earns a score of 9.50. Although the game has some flaws, most of them are easy to ignore if you're new to the game. Expert players might notice a few issues, but they can be overlooked due to the polished, fun gameplay and new features that make the game so engaging. Persona 3 is a significant improvement from the older games, easy to pick up with a fun beloved cast, fantastic story, cool soundtracks, and a beautiful ending that can emotionally impact you as you become more attached to the characters. Overall, Persona 3 Reload is a must-experience game for both newcomers to turn-based games and OG players.